Okay. Guess what? It's Friday. Oh my God. 2024. 2024. All even numbers. 02022024. That's quite a combination. Sounds like a combination on a vault. Better not be, right? Okay, well, I hope you're enjoying the first 2.5 hours of Friday, assuming you start to move around at 8 a.m. The news is crazy. Let's take a look. How about some inspirational messages first? If you are strong enough to get this far, you are strong enough to keep on going. So get with it, baby. Maybe notice a little fog as it lifts, as the day goes on, the fog dissipates, ideally. Stay on the right side of the road and keep on trucking, right? That's the name of the game. Marilyn came up with that inspirational message this morning, among other messages. Let's see. Here's another one. So you read this all the way down 1 through 9. Do you know who is the prettiest person in the world? Well, now start at 6 and go down to 9, and then read 5 and 2. The prettiest person in the world is Y-O-U. That's a inspirational, girly message. What the heck? So, technology speaking, before we get into the hard news, Apple Vision Pro is here. It's a revolutionary spatial computing headset. I mean, there's a lot of science in there, but it costs $3,500. Hello? And let's see if we have a picture of a guy wearing it. I mean, it looks like you're ready to, take off somewhere. I'll get some pictures of people wearing it. Yeah, you got a big strap in the back, and you got this. I mean, that's all right because you it gives you, it's a real high resolution business inside these goggles, so that your whole desktop appears to be floating out in front of you, and if you want to activate an app, you just bing it in the middle of the air or squeeze it. I think they're into squeezing, so it'll take a while before. I mean, they're all sold out. I don't know how many that is, but if you go online, Apple Vision Pro. It was released, and the stores opened with these things in the stores, and they got 400 stores or whatever all over the world. One not far from me, but one about 5 miles away in the mall, in our mall. I don't know what to call the mall lately. And Apple, they have this big, huge glass cube that is the front of the store in Manhattan. And if you look carefully, this is the glass panel. Line right down there. And if you come here, you can see that's the roof. You know, I mean, it's sealed from the weather. You know, so they've put some kind of a doodad on the inside of the glass in the shape of the goggles and Vision Pro to remind everybody. Yeah, there you go. It's not on somebody, but you know, you got a wire hanging down to feed a battery. That's, you know, I guess they got to do it. They had a special gray thing, which they kind of fit to your face so that no light seeps around, you know, the goggles. Almost like underwater, but it's not underwater. And then they have this strap thing that goes around the back of your head, and it's got this ruffles on it so the back of your head doesn't get, perspiry. Up there. Hey, there's a guy with it on. See it right there? Yep. I don't want those Vision Pros because that guy doesn't have any hair. So if he's sweating, he's lousing up those goggles. Well, I'll have to have a cleanup crew in there to wipe off those straps from, you know, people that don't bathe regularly. Oh boy. So this is the second, right? Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So in 6 days, you got a caucus. I don't exactly understand this, but they all caucus, which is, the groups all talk to each other, and then between groups, and then on the 10th, 7, 8, 9, 10, Saturday, I guess, in February, they have their nomination process for a Republican nominee. Since no one, I don't think anyone's running against Trump. Trump gets the whole slate. So how many delegates Nevada has, Trump gets them. And then 2 weeks after that, he comes back to South Carolina, and let's see how he's doing, and let's see if we can real clear politics. Let's do that. Wow. I'm going to go home. I'm going to pull that down just to update it. Update's the word. And there we go. Let's look for, can I expand this? No. I'm looking for, they have all these different kinds of polls. I'm looking for South Carolina. There's not a South Carolina poll in there. Let's go to the day before, Thursday. Looking for South Carolina. Come on, baby. Don't hide from me. They didn't do that on Thursday. How about South Carolina? North Carolina, Trump up by 10. We're just in South Carolina. Come on. General election. We're going back to Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Nope. Oh boy. The polls slow down on January 25th. Not that many polls. All right. We don't have. Oh, here. Let's do this. 2024 polls. Oh boy. This is getting too complicated. Poll selection. They got a lot of polls. I mean, you can sit here and look at this stuff until it makes you crazy. We don't want all of them. We're just looking for something that sounds like South Carolina. Here it is. Bingo. February 1st. Oh, that's yesterday. I must have missed it. The Washington Post Monmouth poll. This is a relatively important poll, meaning that they use, they call a lot of people. Now, people like me hang up the phone. If I don't know who you are, the phone goes to voicemail directly. So Trump is up by 26 points. Well, that's pretty serious for Nikki Haley because she was the governor of South Carolina. Apparently, they have forgotten her. Trump Haley, so you can see. Yeah, so it's, you can't expand it. Whoa. Trump by 27, Trump by 26, Trump by 29, Trump by 26. So, and that's why they have the RCP average. Trump is at 53.7, Haley is at 26.7. DeSantis, in early December, apparently he was still in the race as 14. Okay. And here's a little graph that shows how Trump is edging up a little bit, and Haley is edging up a little bit as the other candidates are G-O-N-E gone. Okay. So that's the end of my segment on polls. Oh, lordy, lordy. This is an interesting... I tried to explain this the other day with flip chart, I think. Let's see if we can find that app on the App Store, so I can give you the right answer. F-L-I-P. Flip a clip? No. Sorry. Flipboard. There it is. Can't really see it. Let's, there we go. So, hello. See right here, Flipboard. It explains about it, Flipboard. And so you go to the App Store and type in Flipboard, and you're going to get this distinctive red F thingy in the corner. So, when you look at the newspaper, New York Times, just a minute, and you see headlines. Well, maybe that headline, like Apple is just releasing its Vision Pro goggles. There's Tim Cook. Maybe that has no interest to you. So that wouldn't be something that you would pick. So you pick the media, New York Times, and then you pick the subject matter. You can say science and technology. You can say weather, global warming, global cooling. You could say gas cars, hybrid cars, electric cars, robotics, cooking, family cooking, fruits and vegetables, whatever you like. You pick on Flipboard, and then you say, is there any other media that you'd like to look up these kinds of stories? And then you say, okay, how about ABC News, CBS News, Fox News, MSNBC, National Public, whatever, C-SPAN, So then it goes through the entire everything that's been published with the most current date going back in time. So that way you don't have to hunt around in all these different newspapers and magazines and so forth. It finds the articles and stacks them all up for you. And like I'll show you. See, if I go this way, this shows you, that's Tim Cook's office, apparently. So you can see this like slideshow, and then you can flip it, and then go find that article, story or whatever. But just so you know, you see this little gear thing down in the corner, in the lower right corner. You can touch on that because I have an iPad. No, we don't want settings. But look at this: Apple Watch, Apple, iPhones, iPhone apps, iPhone Store, electric vehicles, Tesla Model S, Tesla Model X, like X, the Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model Y. Obviously, I'm interested in Tesla. SpaceX, and what the robotics, incredible robotics having to do with SpaceX. The technology kind of flips over. I have one of my subjects thing. You see the pound symbol. Whoops, there's Elon Musk. Karl Rove. He's a political talking head. Mac software. I have a beautiful Mac right here. So you can just see the different kind. Drones. Just news. Game of Thrones. Remember how exciting that was? Presidential elections. Show 363 more. So I have actually selected 363 other things of interest. There they are. One after the other. Apple Store, you can see that. Drones, remember? Donald Trump. Republicans. MacBook. Science, technology, Mac rumors, movies. Just to give you an idea. I'm just going through Canon rumors on what they're working on, Canon cameras. I'm a Canon guy. I have Canon lenses. So I'm interested in Canon cameras. Hurricanes. Just to give you an idea. So this is what Flipboard is all about. There's MAGA World is about to meet Taylor Swift's fandom. It won't go well for them. Apparently she's, a liberal. All these celebrities are liberals. I don't understand why. Well, they have so much money, give it away. Well, the average working person, is getting whacked big time. They let in all these people on the borders. And, who's going to house these people? The police have to deal with, half these people, some percentage of these people. I was going to say half. I don't know if it's half. It could be 80%. It could be 20%. But a lot of them, are bad guys. Because, Cuba lets them out of the jails and says, hey, go over, head to Mexico, go up the southern border and, work your magic in the United States. Get the hell out of here. So they empty out their jails of all these bad guys. And Venezuela, same thing. They emptied out their prisons. They emptied out their mental health facilities and sent them all to Mexico. And they meet up with the cartel, and then the cartel makes mules out of them. So they carry drugs in their pockets or, strapped to their bodies or whatever. And if they're gotaways, they get over to the United States somewhere. They call their cartel guy and says, hey, I'm in Albuquerque. Where do you want me to drop these drugs? And then the drugs are dropped. And then the cartel guy says, come on back. I got another load for you. And if you do it 3 more times, you're released. That's the way that goes. So if you're wondering how the drugs get in here, that's one of the ways the drugs get in there. They use these gotaways. The people that don't walk over the fence, they jump and run. And since our guys are so busy doing other things, like taking names and phone numbers of these people and then releasing them. I mean, how stupid is that? You think these people are going to show up to a court date 6 years from now? Because they have no way of tracking them. You know, you have to hold them. Or you put them back in Mexico. Saying, you can wait in Mexico for your court date. Well, they'll float around in Mexico and become part of the Mexican society. Or they'll go somewhere else. Because they're not, or they'll try to jump the border again. Yeah, they keep trying. I mean, they caught one guy, he's jumped in here 19 times. He gets sent back, he jumps again. I mean, God. This president will not shut the back door. You need to shut and lock the back door. I wouldn't let in another soul. He's already let in, it's reported, up to 8 million people in 3.5 years. 8 million. I mean, that's larger than, that's approaching, the state of Ohio, for God's sakes. And the Democrats are hoping all these people are going to vote Democratic. And, 4 or 8 years from now, these liberal states are going to say, they've been living here 8 years, they're entitled to vote. And it's going to be hard to stop it. So, boy, what time is it? It's 10:46. All right. So that's what's going on at the border. Let's go to my pictures, because I've gone through so many things. And all right, so where are we here with the Tesla thing? U.S. Okay. Tesla drives just like a car. We have, we have a Tesla since, for 2 3/4 years. In June of this year, this February, March, April, May, we got 90 more days, and we got to turn that puppy in. I'm hoping that, soon, it could be now, I'll have to look at the app. Got a little piece of sauce or something on my, there we go, it's on. Try to keep my computer clean. It's amazing how efficient this thing is. There's no fan. It's sealed up. It controls the heat. The processor is right here. And there's a slight temperature difference between that and over here. Maybe 5 degrees difference. I had a MacBook Pro, there's fans blowing and stuff. And it would, it'd blow out hot air. I mean, it was, a lot of energy was wasted with all the stuff going on. And this is an M2 processor, the other one was M1. The M2 is faster, it's thinner, it's either 3 or 5 microns in thickness for the 15 billion transistors that are inside this chip that's the size of a postage stamp. I mean, they have these huge visual sheets, pages, I'll call it pages. And they lay out all the electronics on these things that, 4 foot by 4 foot square that are projected. And the engineers, they wire up, the electronics for these processors, the memory and all that, segments, and then they photograph this, and then they shrink it down, and with a manufacturing technique that I actually can't even describe, it etches out the drawing of what they had on this big 4 foot by 4 foot page, and it's multi-level, So you might have 8 pages. Okay, my watch is talking to me. It says, "Get up. You've been sitting too long." Oh boy, no rest for the weary. So that Tesla has all kinds of big onboard computer and the brakes, the steering, everything is controlled by this panel, a 15-inch panel. It's up in the middle of your dashboard. But the steering and the brakes and you accelerate and it's very similar to a regular car. The only difference is if you've ever driven a golf cart, you push down on the pedal and it goes faster. You lift up on the pedal and it slows down and it will stop. And then you can put your foot on the brake pedal, to keep it from going backwards or forwards because you're getting ready to go putt or something on the golf course. Well, with the Tesla cars, it's very similar. You push down on the accelerator to go faster. You leave your foot in a certain position to continue to going 70 miles an hour, whatever you're doing. And if you need to slow down, you just lift up on a pedal a little bit, and the wheels then put energy back in the battery. Instead of grinding the brake pedal, which is just a friction, you convert forward momentum into friction, and the brakes get hot, and all that business. Why not just lift up on the pedal, and the motors turn into generators, and they throw energy back into the battery? There's an app, not a Tesla app, someone else wrote the app, that keeps track of what I just said. And with our driving habits, acceleration, deceleration, all this stuff, and the use of that pedal, it's called single pedal driving. Single pedal. The only time I use the brake pedal is if I'm just sitting there at a red light. I'll move my foot over to the brake pedal just to lock the wheels up and put my foot somewhere else. And when it's ready to go, I take my foot off the brake pedal and move it over the accelerator pedal, and then I push it down to, come up with traffic. Just like you were driving any other car. So it's, from that standpoint, you wouldn't know how the car is being energized. Energy to move yourself forward. Because the motors, they don't make any noise. In a car, you go boom, boom, and you can feel it going through different gears and things. There's no gears. There's no transmission. There's no shifting. You got a little thing on the column, which you move up or down if you want to go in reverse. You're stopped and you want to back out of a parking place, something like that. But that's not a gear. The motors get energized in a different way, and the motors run in a different direction. And the motor is running at 5,000 RPM, The wheels will run at 500 RPM. So it's a 10-to-1 reduction. But that's it. I mean, it's fixed and set, and so it's not really a gear shift, because they're just changing the RPMs of the motor by 10-to-1. So you don't go through any shifting at all, and it's totally silent. Whereas in a car, it vibrates, you can hear the motor. I mean, they do a good job in insulating the sound. There's very little heat generated, so you don't have all these radiators and fans. The air conditioner in the Tesla kind of car runs off a compressor, but it's driven by an electric motor into the compressor. So there's no belts. The electric motor is built right into the compressor, so that if you turn on the air conditioner, the compressor is energized by its own circuitry, and a little motor compresses the freon and goes around. So you have electric fans, to give you air conditioning and ventilation and that kind of stuff. You got little electric motors to wind up the windows and wind the windows down. You got little electric motors to do the windshield wipers. So it's really, it's a pretty amazing, futuristic kind of a car. And I'm glad we've been driving it for 3 months. And we'll see what happens, at the end of the lease, to see if it's economical to get another one, or do we move to Toyota, hybrid kind of a car. I don't think by June they're going to have, too many other electric cars, and they're much more expensive. I wouldn't do it. If we wanted to go El Cheapo, which is fine, just a commuter car, get back and forth and all this. Toyota Camry hybrid, which we had one of those, marvelous car. You fill it up with gasoline and with the hybrid design and so forth, which means it uses electric motors, between 0 and 35, and then it's more gas energizing when you get over 35 to 80 miles an hour. And when you get your speed slower again, you have electric. So the energy goes from gasoline to electric power. It doesn't have real big batteries, so you're not going to drive on a battery. I mean, it used to be where, 3 years ago, that you could ride on the battery, in a sense, for about 5 miles. But since you get past 35 miles an hour on your way to work, it switches to the gas anyway. So anyway, but the hybrid, Toyota's been in that business a long time, a lot longer than Tesla has, but they haven't progressed like Tesla has. And the Tesla factories are totally magical. They're 95% automated. The robotics is breathtaking. The way it's designed and the flow of a car. The car comes off the assembly line every 45 seconds. Another car, shiny car, comes off the assembly line every 45 seconds. You build another plant, a car comes out of that every 45 seconds. So you just keep building plants, and or make them bigger, and where you have 2 lines or 3 lines in the same factory. It's let's just think of tires. I mean, tires and the wheel hub. let's say it's heavy. I mean, that's like, 50, 60 pounds per tire. You've got the rubber, you've got the metal, the rim. Sorry, I'm not a real car guy, but just think if every 45 seconds, they have to have four wheels and, with rubber, bolted onto the car. Just think of all those tires. If you make 1 million cars, you got to have 4 million tires, 4 million rims that all feed into this, and the constant delivery of all these pieces that have to enter into the factory so that they can be installed and assembled, in this car. Seats. You got all this seats and all this fabric and all this, it's mind-boggling, But, they put this plan together piece by piece, and, you turn everything on and, everything starts to move. And if you have a component where the suppliers and the backup supplier and the backup to the backup supplier, because you have to have this stuff keep coming, and, they have warehouses, inside these factories that store these parts, screws, whatever. And they make sure that they have, a week's supply. So if for some reason or other the deliveries slow down, they have enough stuff, in the bins, in the supply bins, in the supply line bins, so that the factory keeps running, even though deliveries slow down for some reason, weather, a bridge collapses, and all of a sudden this truckload of seating is delayed. Well, what are they supposed to do? They shut down the plant for 3 days, waiting for that truck to reroute itself, because a bridge collapsed. So you have a supplier, you have a backup supplier, and a backup to the backup. And you got a bunch of stuff on hand so that factory keeps on rolling. And that's a constant headache. I don't care if you're making iPhones, iPads, shoulder pads, automobiles, whatever. These automated factories, they keep on grinding out the product. And, then you got a finished automobile coming off, painted, shined, vacuumed, windows cleaned, no fingerprints anywhere. They got the mats in there. It's really quite amazing. Anyway, but that's the life of all the manufacturers. I don't care if you're making cars or whatever. Tesla is just, a bright, shiny, new entry to the whole automobile thing. And every year they make 40% more cars than the year before. And every automobile analyst says, nah, that can't happen. You can't grow by 40% every year. There's no way that happens. Well, guess what? It's been happening every year for like the last 5 years. And the Wall Street analysts are just wrong every year. And he says so he generated a million cars last year. There's 1.2 million this year, and it's going to be, 35% more than that next year, and 35% more than that the year after. So, 3 years of that, and instead of 1 million cars, you're producing 2 million cars. And if you're producing 2 million cars, then the next year you're producing 2,000,008 cars. And then a year after that, you're making, 3.5, 4 million cars. I mean, and then they could turn up the speed so that the robotics is just moving a little bit faster, So instead of a car coming off the assembly line every 45 seconds, they come out of there every 30 seconds, which is what's happening in China. They figured out how to speed things up. So the cars are coming off the assembly line every 35 seconds, whereas in all the other plants, it's every 45 seconds. Well, that's a 17% faster output. Well, that means you're getting more cars out of the marketplace and they get sold. Everything is made to order. So they don't, like Ford, they just manufacture as fast as they can, put them on the dealer lots, and then hope the dealers sell them. And the dealers, sell them, and sometimes they don't. And then they just sit on the lot. You go by a Ford dealership, you get all these F-100s, F-150s, 30 of them all lined up, all beautiful. They're sitting there. No. With Tesla, you want a car, you go online, you order it. You pick, you only got 5 colors. You don't like one of those 5 colors? Fine, go get something else. Yeah. They don't have 37 different colors. They've got, the interior is black, white, or tan. The exterior is 5 colors. Red, blue, white, silver, black, and an off gray. Red, blue, 5 colors. And then, do you want a tow? You want a tow thing in the back or not? Do you want the super duper, what do they call it? The premium speed. There's another word they use. Performance. Do you want the performance package or not? Which is a little faster motor, this and that. It goes 0 to 60 in, 3.5 seconds instead of 4.5 seconds. Cost you $4,000 for the performance package. It's actually worth it. I don't like the fact that you have to have a 20-inch rim, which means the tires, there's not a lot of rubber. So, that's a harder ride. If they had that in 18 or 19-inch rims, I would actually go for the performance package. Because for that $4,000, you end up with a little better motor, a little higher horsepower motor in the front motor. It's got super duper brakes, which you never use because you just let up on the pedal and it brakes. But in emergency and you need to jam on the brake, they have better brakes. And there's 1,000 other little things that they've added. So it's kind of worth it, but you don't need it. Anyway, Tesla, runs $50,000. So it comes down to the leasing. What rate are they going to charge you compared to what the rate, Toyota charges? The money factor. Depreciation. There's very little depreciation in a Tesla. The news is full of CRAP. The only reason why Hertz, right, rent-a-car, they had 60,000 Teslas, and they dumped 20,000 of them. When they buy these fleets, that's like, not only do they rent them every day, right? They're all over, in these Hertz dealership kinds of things. You go in there and you get a Hertz rent-a-car so you can drive it around for 4 days because you just, flew into Montana or wherever. So when you add it all up, they got 60,000 Teslas. Well, the economy is slowing down, so business travel is slowing down. They're not leasing as many cars as they would if the economy was expanding. The economy is not expanding. It's being propped up, but it can't expand. It's just not expanding. Tesla, Elon and his people decided to drop the price of the Model 3 and the Model Y. And the Model Y and the Model S are, on a lot of the Hertz rent-a-car fleet. And when you drop the price, then they have 60,000 of these cars. So they dumped 20,000 of them just because Tesla dropped the price coming out of the factory. And they just sold them because, they didn't want the cars to depreciate any faster than Tesla's dropping the price. So they're just like keeping up with their inventory control and the valuations of their stuff. So that's how that works. But I actually leased a car from a Tesla Model S from Enterprise Leasing. Marilyn got rear-ended by somebody, at a red light. And so we had the ability to lease a car for, 3 weeks or so while her car got fixed, from the rear ending. And it was an interesting experience, that was our first opportunity to, drive a Tesla, like 5 years ago. Anyway, so we ended up with the Model Y. It's a little higher, it's like a not so big SUV, and plenty inside room. You wouldn't, but if you look at it from the outside, it doesn't look like that big a car. Drives unbelievably good. The service expense has been zero. There's no oil. There's no filters. You don't have to go to the dealership every 4 months to check this or check that, and oil levels and water and radiator. There isn't any of that. You have like 4,000 less parts to have to deal with. Yeah, it's crazy. So, you. So, there we go. I lost my stopwatch here. 48 minutes we've been yakking away. Anyway, so we'll see what happens, like next month. I actually should go on to the, they have an app that connects to the car. Your phone is your key, and it's controlled by an application that they have engineered, written, and you get it at the App Store like everything else. And you go into the finance page, and you can see about extending your lease, which, while we figure out what we're going to do, I'm going to go for extending the lease, since we have tires that are completely, all the tread is on the tires. So it's not like we're running out of tread or the wheels are wobbling because they're out of balance. They're in perfect balance. It's crazy. So they built a car that's really, right. I didn't have to do a thing about it. When we picked it up from the depot where you pick up new cars that you've ordered. Remember, everything's ordered. They don't manufacture extra inventory. You order a car, it comes out of the line. They tell you when it starts. When a serial number is issued, when a VIN number, VIN, when a VIN number is created. And that's your car. And it's got a bunch of numbers and letters, 6 of them, I think. And then or 7. And then the last 6 digits is, 0000001. 2 and 3 and 4. Ours is like 197,000 of this particular model. Pops off the line, and they transport it from, I think our car was made in Fremont, California, and then they shipped it to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We drove 25 minutes south into Fort Lauderdale and picked up the car. The pickup took 7 minutes, I mean, we had to wait for the guy for 10 minutes. And then, because the paperwork's all done, you sign everything online, beforehand. You pay, if there's a down payment on your lease, that's an electronic deposit you send to them, and they verify that that's done. And boom, here's the key to the car, and the key is like a credit card. I happen to have one right in my wallet, because in the event you lose your iPhone or the iPhone is out of battery, so then what happens? Well, you see this card that says Tesla with 3 hearts on it? That's my, and then I have here with my address on the back, and it shows you here, you just, between the front and rear window, there's like a column. You just touch it to that column, unlocks the car, and makes the car available to drive. So this is your backup. This is something that you hand a valet guy, because you're not going to give him your cell phone. So he needs to be able to lock the car, unlock the car. So if the car is locked and you touch this column, it unlocks it. If you get out of the car and shut the door, you want to lock the car, you touch this column and it will lock it. So unlock or lock, depending on whether you're coming or going. Let me put this car. I put 3 little hearts on there in case there's more than one Tesla in the valet. You'll know that the 3 hearts is our car. I'll put that right in the back there. That's it. So they hand you 2 of those cards. For $35, I got 2 more. So we have 4 cards floating around. Marilyn's got 1. I have 2. That's 3, and there's 1 more somewhere. I think there's 1 more that's lost. So misplaced, put it that way. It didn't get lost in the street. It's floating around here somewhere. But I can't find it, and Marilyn's only got 1, and I've got 2. It's probably in the glove box or something like that for the 4th one. Anyway, so that's the Tesla story. In 90 days, we're going to be doing something. I actually don't know. If Tesla has a really good lease deal, we'll probably get another one of those. Maybe we'll try the Model 3. Which is a little smaller version, and it's $5,000 less expensive. So in theory, the lease should be, 10 or 12% smaller lease rate payment than what we're dealing with now. The money factor was better 3 years ago than it is today. But Tesla may have, these factories, sometimes they eat, they discount the money factor so that, people can lease the car. The technology like that, I wouldn't buy it necessarily. If they had a deal where you could buy the car at the end of the lease, that would be something to consider. But the technology, when you step up and get another one 3 years later, there's so much technology that's been improved over that 3-year period. I want to keep up with that technology and just keep turning them in and getting another one if you like the car. What's the difference? Who the hell owns it? The question is, how much does it cost to drive? And, I don't care actually who owns it. If you bought it, then you've got the money factor because you invested all that money in a car instead of having all that money invested in something else. So that money factor is your money factor. Because that's money that you're not earning somewhere else. So no matter what you do, there's a money factor. And the question is, which is the best way to do it? So I also add the ingredient, the technology factor. And I'd rather keep up with the technology so that you constantly get the newer battery, design, and the newer motor design, because they design their own motors. Everything in there they design and manufacture themselves. They don't buy motors from someone else. The batteries are manufactured in their own factories. They don't buy the batteries, from China and all that, And maybe Ford does, but Tesla doesn't. Tesla manufactures the batteries in their own factories. They have gigafactories, where they manufacture the batteries and the motors, the drive units. All that stuff is manufactured by Tesla. All the parts, the screws, the ball bearing, all that stuff is manufactured by Tesla. Amazing. Because they can't find someone else that makes or designs them better. So they make them themselves, Same thing with their SpaceX. They make their own stuff. They manufacture their own engines, the rockets. It's all manufactured internally. Amazing. All right, so I think I'm talked out. I had a little bowl of pasta this morning. I made some pasta last night. Some Dodecche spaghetti, number 12. Made al dente. And I opened up a can of mushroom soup, cream of mushroom soup by Campbell's. And I put that in a sauce, bowl. And then I add 3/4 of a can of chicken broth. And then I blend it, with a hand blender, a whisk. And whisk that together to make like a cream sauce with chicken broth and mushroom soup. Add a little salt to it. I take half of that and I save it. And the other half, I add a handful of pasta and stir it up, put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And that is a marvelous that was my breakfast, which I had at 9:30 this morning. My blood sugar was going down. Oh boy. I have this little thing with my blood sugar, so I can see what my blood sugar is, which for my let's see where it might be. There it is, right there. Push that button. My blood sugar is, look at that, 124. That's 124 what? It's measuring glucose, and it's milligrams per deciliter. If you look very carefully on this screen, let's do this. There we go. That's a big one, big version of that. You see, right underneath the arrow, it says mg with a slash. That's milligram per deciliter. That's milligram per 10 liters of glucose. That's the concentration of glucose in my bloodstream right now. And you can see the graph where it goes up and down with meals, but it's been in the green. It's constantly in the green. Now I gave myself 4.5 units of insulin at like 9:30, and you see it came down a little bit, and then it started going up because the insulin was, because my pancreas, I guess, isn't making insulin quite fast enough because I'm 103. And so the insulin gives, a little support so that your blood sugar doesn't go up to like 250. But it wouldn't go up that high anyway, but just, in the event. So since if I eat a bowl of rice, if I go, to a Chinese restaurant and have, mugu gai pan with white rice or whatever, I should take a shot of insulin before I go to the restaurant. So that way, by the time, the insulin takes about 45 minutes to kind of like get in your bloodstream. So then that meets up with the glucose that's created by eating the white rice. So if I eat white rice, I take a shot. It's like automatic. And if I have, a bowl of noodles with the pasta, that creates some glucose. And that way I keep myself on the straight and narrow. But with the Ozempic, I can have like a small or medium-sized bowl of this pasta instead of this huge bowl of pasta. It's like portion control. You don't need to have this huge bowl of stuff. And if you have a huge bowl, you only eat half of it because you just, you fill up faster or something. So the Ozempic is really quite handy in assisting with like a diet. But you're not dieting. You're not saying, oh my God, I wish I could eat more, and you feel hungry all the time. Not so. You just end up eating a little bit less. It controls your blood sugar. Look at that. It's in the green the entire 24-hour period. This from one end to the other is 24 hours. 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., I guess that's a 12-hour period. So, but it keeps, stepping on a 12 hours. So you always see 12 hours. It's really quite Abbott Laboratories. You just stick this thing on your arm. It connects with the iPhone, and it tracks your blood sugar. I actually don't need to have this thing. I'm going to give my arm a rest and not have it for about a week, and then I'll put it in the other arm the next time I activate one of those things. They're prescription. It's a thing, and you just stick it on your arm. It's the size of 2 pennies with some electronics on one side with adhesive, and you just stick it right on your arm, and a little poker goes subcutaneous, so it can read your bloodstream, your blood, through your fatty tissue. And it's there you go, my blood sugar is 121, and an hour and a half ago, I had a nice portion of pasta with some mushroom gravy. Marvelous. Oh, what a breakfast. And I won't eat another thing until 8 o'clock tonight. I have a bowl of popcorn. Because we'll watch the news and then turn on activate Netflix and watch something. So that's it. I've been on the air for 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 39 seconds. And this is a tribal. I have a simulcast. Well, this is a simulcast of 3 different live activities, services. It's a live broadcast on Facebook Live. It's live on YouTube. I'm trying to think of the third one. I'll tell you what. Let's see. Twitter, X. It's live on X. Miss this broadcast, you can go to any one of those services and they'll replay in full, in high definition, with all the craziest, all the stuff that I do, and oops, bumped into the microphone, whatever. It's really quite amazing. It's all controlled through this MacBook 15-inch MacBook Air, which is a magical piece of Apple equipment. I'm really, it's a scientific achievement. That's because I run the same software through MacBook Pro, and the sucker would overheat like crazy. You get up to 180 degrees. There's so much going on with this application, but the MacBook Air with the M2 chip can handle it. Plus, I have 24 gigabytes of memory, which all my applications, I'm looking at a little thing down here, which you can't see because that's part of the operating system. Physical memory is 24 gigabytes. The application has taken 8.95 gigabytes with this application, and the operating software, the computer, in general, it's using 10.8 gigabytes of my physical memory. I have 24 gigabytes, so it's running at about 45%, which is perfect. And the wired memory is 1.9, and I learned what the wired memory, that means that the applications and the operating system are locked into 1.9 gigabytes of memory, and it doesn't come and go. It's locked in there. It's wired tight. So of the 10 gigabytes of memory that's being used, 1.9 gigabytes is wired, and the other 8 gigabytes can come and go depending on the needs of the application. So that's when it's wired. So, but I got 24 gigabytes of physical memory, and it's running at about 45%, which is like perfect. You want 40, 50, 60%. You don't want to be up at the 90s. You want to have plenty of physical memory. And 10 gigabytes is a lot of memory. So if you have a computer that only has 8 gigabytes of memory, that means it has to swap back and forth to your disk, because you don't really have enough physical memory. So with this Ecamm Live software, and you hear the music in the background, that's taken a gigabyte or so that's music that's coming from it's a royalty-free music, and that's being generated on what do you call that? So I can pick all kinds of stuff, but this is this is what I use. This is my theme song. It's been running for 2 hours and 6 minutes. It's actually a 3-hour track. See, I can move it around. There you go. Now you got a little different. So this is, YouTube music. That's what, the source of where I'm getting that. So that's operating, in the background. And, I can push that up or down. Oops, I like to have music in the background so that if I take a breath, it doesn't go completely silent. Because if it does, I may lose some bandwidth because remember this is audio and video, high definition video and audio being simulcast onto 3 different platforms simultaneously. So there's a lot going on here, and I'm the stage hand, that moves the microphone around. I'm the technical guy, supposedly. I'm the producer because I can, change the levels of all this stuff. There we go. Yeah, all right, stop it. So this is my soundboard over here. It's Rodecaster Pro, Roman numeral 2. This is a magical piece of equipment, and one day I'll spend a little time talking about that in case somebody wants to do podcasting. So it's good. An hour and 12 minutes. I haven't got any warning messages that any of the 3, every once in a while, one of the 3 drops off for some reason, either because of bandwidth or I don't know what. But anyway, so it's been enjoyable being with you guys. And there we go. In fact, I can do this. Oops, no, not that. So, this is what the technical guy would do if I had a technical guy. But I don't. There we go. So I can do that, and then I can come up here and swap. So there we go. So we have Jimmy here. See there, it's 11:36 a.m., February 2nd. I've been on the air. You see here? Oh, excuse me. An hour and 13 minutes and 26 seconds. And that's all I got to say. So I wish you have a great weekend. It's Friday. It's coming up to lunchtime. So this is a pre-lunch AM broadcast on Friday morning, which I promised. And, I may see you tomorrow morning. We'll see. I don't know what we have. I don't know what we have figured out for this weekend. Robin was here last weekend. Daughter came down from Washington, D.C., and she was here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Marilyn took off Monday. So she had a 4-day week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're probably going to recuperate this weekend. So we're up late and got up early, and it was an active, exciting 5 days with Robin, which we haven't seen, in a couple of years. So she's going through, a divorce and all that stuff. So she's been married to this guy for 10 years. And he was, honestly, I never really liked the guy, but I keep my mouth shut. Whew. And it's a shame. He's a West Point graduate, 15-year Army Ranger, and he's a total dick. But, love is blind. Well, she woke up and said, I don't like this picture. So she pulled the plug. He was served on Tuesday. Service and lawyers and stuff. At $500 an hour. Okay, on that happy message, let me tune out of here, and you all have a great weekend. And we'll catch up on some of this soon.